And in this video, I'm gonna show you the best cheap camera that you can use for YouTube videos. Stay tuned. So whenever I tell someone I film videos, the first question that they ask is, hey, what camera do you use? And the thing is, when you're looking for budget cameras, it's super cheesy, but the only answer that really matters is the camera that you have to work with, whether that's your camera that's in your pocket, aka your cell phone, your smartphone, because people often underestimate the power of smartphones nowadays. And that would be like my go-to recommendation if you want to look for a camera for YouTube videos. But let's say you don't want to make videos on your smartphone. Well, there's pretty much two schools of thoughts that you want to think about when you buy a camera. The first school of thought is the DSLR category, and the two cameras that I recommend is any Nikon D5000 series, whether that's 5100, 52, 53, 5500, or the Canon T5i, T4, and T3i. And why do I recommend these two budget-friendly cameras for YouTube videos is because it pretty much comes with all you need for video capabilities. 1080p, 24 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and as long as YouTube doesn't suddenly everyone starts going to 4K, these cameras are more than capable. And yes, it can get a little pricey when it comes to upgrading your lens, figuring out what kind of system that you need, but the things that I recommend is when you don't know how to use a camera yet, the first thing you need to do is start with the kit lens. And most cameras come bundled with an 18 to 55 millimeter autofocus stepping focus lens, whether that's Canon or that's a Nikon. And believe it or not, what you're seeing right now, I'm filming on the Nikon D5200. If you're more in the second school of category when it comes to video cameras and you don't want to worry about the big bulkiness and worrying about different lenses, what you gotta do or want is probably something like a point and shoot. And there's pretty much two cameras that every YouTuber uses, and that is either the Canon G7X or the Sony RX Mark 1, 2, 3. Because the other end of the Sonys and the G7X2 is that it does get pricey over the $1,000 mark. But the thing is, its predecessors are a lot more budget friendly, and you can get these for anywhere from $700 and lower. So that's the Sony RX 1, 2, and 3, and the Canon G7X Mark 1. Because when it comes to having a camera and you don't know how to use a camera to begin with, you don't want to spend thousands of dollars using a big camera that you don't even know how to use in the first place. Think of your first car or your very first whatever big purchase. You want to be able to know the ins and outs. And if you don't know how to use a camera yet, I would say the cameras that I just listed in category 1, whether that's a DSLR or category 2 is a point and shoot, is that you want to be able to maximize its capabilities and understand everything like it's your third arm. So those are my recommendations when it comes to buying your budget camera for your YouTube videos, your professional videos. And you're wondering, what camera am I shooting on? Like I already mentioned, I shoot on a Canon D5200. But before that, and I didn't have a lot of money, all I did was I used my Samsung Galaxy phone, flipped it around, and I got practice learning about how to edit, practice about learning how to film footage, learning about color grading, learning about how to cut videos properly. And that pretty much built my foundation to the point where, okay, I used the capabilities of my phone, maxed it out to its full potential, and now it's time to make a little investment. And I looked on sites like Craigslist and eBay, and I found a secondhand DSLR, which you're looking at, and I still use till this day to film my professional videos, my side projects, my side hustles. And you would be amazed what this Nikon D5200, and I also have a D5500 that's capable in this day and age. So to pretty much look at your best cheap friendly budget cameras, you don't need that fancy Sony A7X II or Panasonic GH5 when you're gonna spew out like $3,000 to $4,000 when you don't know how to use a camera. So that's number one. Make sure you know what you're doing. If you don't know, find an entry-level DSLR, whether that's a Nikon or a Canon. Canons tend to have much more of like an autofocus system. So if you want to do vlogs or do more, cinematic videos, I would personally recommend Canon's T series or a 7D if you're more on that budget, but I'll leave that for another video. And if you don't want to find, you find using DSLRs a little more intimidating, what you want to do is you want to go into the point and shoot. And once you learn your point and shoot cameras, learning how to use that and you vlog and understanding how to record videos, then you can move on to the big boys. And those were my recommendations for cameras, because I'm not here to be like, hey, here are all the cameras that are super expensive and you should buy. These are the ones that I would recommend and I have personally used, so I can vouch for them. And my name is Peter. You're watching Broke Visionary, where we all start with nothing, but you can always make something. Because sometimes you get caught up in gear and it's like you can just get overwhelmed by the type of gear, right? It's not as cheesy as it sounds. It's all about you, right? You make the story. Story is way more important than the type of equipment that you have. Never let that type of equipment stop you from doing what you want to do, whether that's film, putting stuff on the internet. You do you.